Shawn Taylor was more than just a safety. He was a game changer. Born April 1, 1983, in Miami, Florida, Taylor starred at the University of Miami before being drafted 5th overall by Washington in the 2004 NFL Draft. He quickly became known for his explosive hits, elite speed, and instinctive playmaking. By his 3rd season, Taylor had earned his first Pro Bowl selection in 2006. But everything changed on November 26, 2007. At just 24 years old, Taylor was shot in the leg during a burglary at his home in Palmetto Bay, Florida. The bullet severed his femoral artery. Despite emergency surgery, he died early the next morning, November 27th, due to massive blood loss. At the time, he was sidelined with a knee injury and home with his girlfriend and 18-month-old daughter. Taylor's death stunned the sports world. Fans, players, and coaches mourned the loss of a young father and generational talent. Washington honored him by placing 10 players on defense the following game, leaving his position empty. His number 21 became iconic. Today, Shawn Taylor is remembered not only for how he played, but for everything he never got the chance to finish. Derek Thomas was a once-in-a-generation linebacker whose career with the Kansas City Chiefs defined an era. Born January 1, 1967, in Miami, Florida, Thomas was drafted 4th overall in 1989. He spent all 11 seasons of his NFL career in Kansas City, amassing 126.5 sacks, and still holds the NFL single-game sack record with 7, a performance burned into league history. But on January 23, 2000, everything changed. Thomas was driving to Kansas City International Airport to catch a flight to St. Louis for the NFC Championship game. He and 2 friends were speeding on icy roads. Thomas, who wasn't wearing a seatbelt, was ejected when the car flipped. The crash left him paralyzed from the chest down. Just 16 days later, on February 8, 2000, Derek Thomas died from a massive pulmonary embolism, a blood clot that traveled to his lungs. He was 33 years old. The NFL lost more than a player. It lost a legend in the making. In 2009, Thomas was posthumously inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. His number 58 remains iconic in Kansas City, a symbol of explosive talent, leadership, and a life and career tragically cut short. Chris Henry was a rising NFL wide receiver with blazing speed and a troubled past. Born on May 17, 1983, in Belchure, Louisiana, he was drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals in 2005. But on December 17, 2009, in Charlotte, North Carolina, he died after a tragic fall from a moving pickup truck. He was only 26. Henry played college football at West Virginia and quickly made a name for himself. In his first 2 NFL seasons, he caught 15 touchdowns, flashes of brilliance that showed his potential. But multiple arrests and league suspensions threatened to derail his career. By 2009, he was working toward a comeback, re-signed by the Bengals and engaged to his longtime girlfriend, Lolani Tonga. That December, during an argument at his fiancée's parents' home, Henry jumped into the bed of her moving pickup truck as she drove away. He fell off and suffered fatal head injuries. He never woke up. Later, doctors at Boston University discovered Henry had chronic traumatic encephalopathy, CTE, making him one of the first active NFL players diagnosed. His death stunned teammates and sparked deeper questions about brain trauma, violence, and life after football. Chris Henry's story is more than a tragedy. It's a turning point in how the league confronts its most dangerous truth. Fred Lane was a rising NFL star, known for his raw power and relentless drive. Born on September 6, 1975 in Franklin, Tennessee, Lane went undrafted in 1997 but earned his way onto the Carolina Panthers roster out of Tiny Lane College. He quickly became a fan favorite, small school tough with something to prove every time he touched the ball. In just 3 seasons with the Panthers, Lane racked up over 2,000 rushing yards and 17 touchdowns. He set a franchise rookie record with 778 yards in 1997 and delivered back-to-back 100-yard games to close out that season. By 1999, he had become a core part of the team's backfield and was later traded to the Indianapolis Colts. But he never got the chance to suit up. On July 6, 2000, Fred Lane was shot and killed by his wife, Deidre Lane, as he walked through the door of their Charlotte, North Carolina home. He was just 24 years old. Authorities said he was shot twice with a shotgun, once in the chest and again in the back of the head. The NFL community was stunned. Deidre Lane later pleaded guilty to voluntary manslaughter and was sentenced to nearly 8 years in prison. Fred Lane's death was more than a personal tragedy. It was a loss of a young life and a career that had only just begun. Eric Turner. He was a top draft pick, a Pro Bowl safety, and a team captain. But behind the scenes, Eric Turner was fighting for his life. Born on September 20th, 1968, in Ventura, California, Turner became one of the NFL's most promising defensive backs in the 1990s. On May 28, 2000, in Thousand Oaks, California, his career and life came to an abrupt end. He was just 31 years old. Drafted second overall in the 1991 NFL Draft by the Cleveland Browns, Turner made an immediate impact. By 1994, he earned Pro Bowl and All-Pro honors, leading the league in interceptions with 9. After the Browns moved to Baltimore in 1996, he continued with the newly formed Ravens, then signed with the Oakland Raiders in 1997, where he remained until his death. In a shocking revelation, it was reported that Turner had been battling abdominal cancer for over a year, a diagnosis he kept private, even from many teammates. He died while still an active player on the Raiders roster. Eric Turner's death sent shockwaves through the NFL. Known for his leadership, grit, and intelligence on the field, his legacy lives on as a reminder of the quiet battles some athletes fight off the field, ones that stats and highlights never show. By the way, I'm going to be posting a lot more interesting videos on the channel. I'll greatly appreciate it if you could show support by liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Thank you very much. Cory Stringer was a dominant force on the offensive line, a first-round draft pick out of Ohio State, taken 24th overall by the Minnesota Vikings in 1995. Standing 6'4" and weighing over 330 pounds, he quickly became a fixture at right tackle. By the 2000 season, his efforts were finally recognized. He earned his first Pro Bowl selection, a nod to years of consistency and grit in the trenches. But tragedy struck during training camp on July 31, 2001, in Mankato, Minnesota. With temperatures soaring into the 90s and a brutal heat index, Stringer struggled through practice. He collapsed, was rushed to the hospital, and by the next morning, August 1, 2001, he was dead, caused by exertional heat stroke. He was just 27 years old. His death rocked the NFL. It was the first time a league player had died from heat stroke in the modern era. In response, the league implemented stricter heat protocols, banned excessive full-contact drills in extreme conditions, and emphasized hydration and player monitoring. His widow, Kelsey, later helped found the Cory Stringer Institute, a national leader in heat illness prevention. Today, Stringer's legacy isn't just in the games he played, but in the lives saved because of what happened after. Thomas Haran was an offensive guard for the San Francisco 49ers, young, driven, and full of potential. Born on December 15, 1981 in Fort Worth, Texas, Haran had climbed from Kilgore Junior College to the University of Utah, where he blocked for future NFL #1 pick, Alex Smith. By 2005, he was chasing his NFL dream with the 49ers during the preseason. On August 20, 2005, after a preseason game in Denver, Colorado, Haran collapsed in the locker room shortly after the final whistle. He had just played 23 snaps, helping engineer a game-winning touchdown drive. Moments after the team huddled in prayer, he fell to the floor. Despite immediate medical attention and transport to a nearby hospital, Haran was pronounced dead just hours later. He was 23. The official autopsy determined the cause of death as ischemic heart disease, with significant blockage in his right coronary artery. He showed no outward symptoms, a silent killer hiding behind the size required to play the game. His death stunned the NFL. A young man with everything ahead of him, gone without warning. It sparked renewed focus on heart health and screenings, especially for linemen. Today, Thomas Haran is remembered not just as a football player, but as a symbol of how precious and fragile life can be, even in the prime of youth and strength. Marquise Hill was a defensive end for the New England Patriots, drafted in the second round in 2004 after winning a national championship with LSU in 2003. Born August 7, 1982, in New Orleans, Hill stood out for his physicality and team-first mentality. While he played in just one regular season game, he remained a valued presence in the locker room, known for his work ethic and leadership. On May 27, 2007, during Memorial Day weekend, Hill took a jet ski out on Lake Pontchartrain near New Orleans with a friend. Neither wore a life jacket. When the jet ski flipped, Hill helped his friend stay afloat, but then vanished beneath the water. His body was recovered the next day. He was only 24 years old. The Patriots community was devastated. Teammates like Tom Brady and coach Belchure praised Hill's selflessness and character. Though his NFL stats were minimal, his final act, saving a friend's life, cemented a legacy of quiet heroism that endures far beyond the field. Damian Nash was a promising NFL running back with a heart as big as his game. Born in St. Louis, Missouri on April 14, 1982, he made it to the league in 2005, drafted by the Tennessee Titans. But it was with the Denver Broncos in 2006 that he showed real flashes, like a 52-yard performance against the Chargers in his debut game. But on February 24, 2007, just months after that breakout, everything ended. After hosting a charity basketball game in St. Louis to benefit the Darius Nash Find a Heart Foundation, named for his brother, who had recently received a heart transplant, Damian collapsed at his home shortly after the event. He was rushed to Christian Hospital and pronounced dead. He was just 24. There was no foul play, no drugs, no trauma. The autopsy listed the cause of death as undetermined. His passing shocked teammates and fans alike. Damian Nash died trying to give back, supporting the very cause that saved his brother's life. Though his career was brief, his legacy still beat strong through the foundation he helped build and the lives he touched in just 24 short years. Cory Smith wasn't a household name, but in the NFL, he was deeply respected. Born October 2, 1979 in Richmond, Virginia, Smith played defensive end and forged his path the hard way. Undrafted in 2002 out of NC State, he refused to quit, signing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and later playing for the San Francisco 49ers and Detroit Lions. Over 7 seasons, Smith appeared in 61 games and was part of Tampa Bay's Super Bowl 37 winning roster, though he didn't play in the game. Then came March 1, 2009. Smith and 3 friends, including Raiders linebacker Marquise Cooper, went on a fishing trip off the coast of Clearwater, Florida. A sudden storm hit. Their boat capsized in rough waters. Only one man, Nick Schuyler, survived, found clinging to the engine mount 2 days later. Smith was just 29. His death rocked the league. Teammates remembered him as quiet, relentless, and selfless. No headlines, no ego, just work. Darrent Williams. On January 1, 2007, just hours after playing in the final game of the season, Denver Broncos cornerback Darrent Williams was killed in a drive-by shooting in downtown Denver. He was only 24 years old. Williams had been drafted in the second round of the 2005 NFL Draft out of Oklahoma State. In just 2 seasons with the Broncos, he made an instant impact, recording 6 interceptions, 2 defensive touchdowns, and quickly earning a reputation as one of the league's most promising young cornerbacks. That New Year's Eve, he was celebrating with teammates at a nightclub. A confrontation reportedly broke out between Broncos players and known gang members. As Williams left in a stretch Hummer limousine, shots were fired. One bullet struck him in the neck. He died in the arms of teammate Javon Walker. The NFL was stunned. The city of Denver mourned. And in the years since, Williams' legacy has lived on, especially through the Darrent Williams Memorial Teen Center, opened by the Boys and Girls Clubs of Metro Denver. His story remains one of the most heartbreaking losses in NFL history, a young star whose life and career were stolen far too soon. Marquise Cooper was a rising linebacker in the NFL, known more for his work ethic than headlines. Born March 11, 1982, in Mesa, Arizona, he starred at the University of Washington before being drafted by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the 3rd round of the 2004 NFL Draft. Over 5 seasons, Cooper played for multiple teams, including the Buccaneers, Minnesota Vikings, Pittsburgh Steelers, Seattle Seahawks, and finally, the Oakland Raiders. Though he never became a household name, he was respected in locker rooms for his speed, versatility, and quiet leadership. But on February 28, 2009, tragedy struck. Cooper and 3 friends, including Detroit Lions defensive end Cory Smith, set off from Clearwater Pass, Florida, on a 21-foot fishing boat. A powerful cold front rolled in unexpectedly, flipping their vessel 50 miles offshore. Despite clinging to the overturned hull through rough seas, only one man, Nick Schuyler, survived. After a 72-hour search, the Coast Guard called off the mission. Marquise Cooper was declared lost at sea. He was just 26 years old. His body was never recovered. The loss sent shockwaves through the NFL. Cooper left behind a young daughter and a grieving community. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I have lots of interesting videos coming on the channel. Gaines Adams. He was a top NFL draft pick with freak athleticism and a future as bright as stadium lights, but his life was cut tragically short. Adams was a standout defensive end at Clemson and the number 4 overall pick in the 2007 NFL Draft by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. At 6'5", 260 pounds, he had the ideal build and burst off the edge that scouts drooled over. In his rookie season, Adams tallied 6 sacks and earned a spot on the NFL All-Rookie team. But after inconsistent performance, the Bucs traded him to the Chicago Bears in October 2009. Just 3 months later, on January 17, 2010, Adams collapsed at his family home in Greenwood, South Carolina. He was rushed to Self Regional Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. He was only 26 years old. The autopsy revealed cardiomyopathy, an enlarged heart, an undetected condition that caused a sudden cardiac arrest. His death stunned the league. A gifted athlete in peak condition, gone in an instant. Gaines Adams' story remains a haunting reminder that even the strongest hearts can carry silent dangers. Kenny McKinley was a promising young wide receiver for the Denver Broncos. Born January 31, 1987 in Mableton, Georgia, McKinley starred at South Carolina, where he became the school's all-time leader in career receptions. The Broncos selected him in the 5th round of the 2009 NFL Draft, hoping his speed and reliability would boost their receiving corps. As a rookie, McKinley primarily played on special teams, but after suffering a knee injury, he was placed on injured reserve. By 2010, he was still recovering and hadn't played in a regular season game that year. Behind the scenes, he was struggling. Financial pressure, physical setbacks, and growing isolation were weighing heavily on him. On September 20, 2010, McKinley was found dead in his home in Centennial, Colorado. Reports say he died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He was just 23 years old. Investigators revealed he had been deeply depressed and felt hopeless about his future in football. His death stunned the Broncos and the wider NFL. Friends recalled his outgoing personality, but no one saw the pain beneath the surface. Jovan Belchure was a starting linebacker for the Kansas City Chiefs, undrafted out of the University of Maine, but relentless on the field. Born July 24, 1987, in West Babylon, New York, he made the Chiefs roster in 2009 and quickly earned a starting role. In just 4 seasons, he recorded 233 tackles across 60 games. But on the morning of December 1, 2012, in Kansas City, Missouri, his career and life came to a devastating end. That morning, Belchure shot and killed his 22-year-old girlfriend, Cassandra Perkins, at their home, with whom he shared a 3-month-old daughter. He then drove to the Chiefs' practice facility, where he reportedly thanked general manager Scott Pioli and head coach Romeo Crennel for what they had done for him. Seconds later, as police arrived, Belchure took out a handgun and shot himself in the head. He was 25. The incident rocked the NFL. It wasn't just a tragedy. It exposed deep concerns about mental health, domestic violence, and the silent burdens carried by professional athletes. Years later, tests revealed Belchure had signs of CTE. Jerry Brown Jr. was a young linebacker chasing a dream in the NFL. Born in Dallas, Texas on October 29, 1987, he played college ball at the University of Illinois before taking an unconventional route to the pros, through the Arena Football League and a brief stint with the Indianapolis Colts. In October 2012, he joined the Dallas Cowboys practice squad, bringing his career full circle back to his hometown. But just 2 months later, that dream ended in tragedy. On December 8, 2012, around 2 a.m., Brown was riding in a car driven by teammate and close friend, Josh Brent. They had been out drinking. Brent lost control of the vehicle on a highway in Irving, Texas. The car flipped. Brown, not wearing a seatbelt, was ejected and pronounced dead at a nearby hospital. He was just 25 years old. Brent was arrested and later convicted of intoxication manslaughter. The Cowboys wore a 53 decal on their helmets in Jerry's honor. His death sent shockwaves through the league, reminding everyone how quickly lives can change and how off-field decisions carry devastating weight. Jerry Brown's legacy is one of unfulfilled promise and a tragic lesson the NFL won't forget. O.J. Murdock was a wide receiver with elite speed and a second chance. Born in Tampa, Florida, he starred at Middleton High School before playing college football at Fort Hays State. In July 2011, the Tennessee Titans signed him as an undrafted free agent. Murdock showed promise in training camp, but a right Achilles injury sidelined him for the entire season. Still, he stayed on the team's radar, recovering, rehabbing, and preparing for a return. But on July 30, 2012, just days into training camp, everything stopped. Murdock was found dead in his car outside Middleton High, his former school, by a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He was 25 years old. He hadn't reported to camp, and when contacted, told the Titans he was dealing with personal issues. No one expected this. O.J. Murdock never played a regular season NFL game, but his death sent shockwaves through the league. Quiet, determined, and respected by teammates, his passing became a tragic reminder of the mental health struggles athletes often face alone. Trey Walker. His story was just beginning. Born August 5, 1992 in Miami, Florida, he grew up in Liberty City, one of the city's toughest neighborhoods. Against the odds, Walker made it out, eventually becoming a standout cornerback at Texas Southern University. In 2015, his NFL dream came true when the Baltimore Ravens selected him in the 4th round of the draft. Though he played mostly on special teams as a rookie, Walker was known for his size, athleticism, and raw potential. At 6 feet 2 inches with 4.4 speed, he was expected to take a major leap in his second year. But that next step never came. On March 17, 2016, during the offseason, Trey was riding a dirt bike in Liberty City after sunset. He wore dark clothing, had no lights on the bike, and wasn't wearing a helmet. He collided with an oncoming SUV. The injuries were catastrophic. He was rushed to Jackson Memorial Hospital, but died the following day on March 18th. He was only 23 years old. The tragedy stunned the Ravens organization and the NFL. Head coach John Harbaugh called it a devastating loss. For those who knew him, Trey Walker was more than a promising athlete. He was proof that determination could break through even the darkest circumstances. His loss remains one of the league's most heartbreaking stories. Edwin Jackson, a linebacker for the Indianapolis Colts, was born on December 19, 1991, in Atlanta, Georgia. A former walk-on at Georgia Southern, he defied the odds to reach the NFL. But on February 4, 2018, his promising life and career ended in tragedy on a highway in Indianapolis. After initially signing with the Arizona Cardinals as an undrafted free agent in 2015, Jackson was waived, but later picked up by the Colts. By 2016, he had earned a starting role, playing all 16 games and totaling 66 tackles. His hard-hitting style and relentless work ethic made him a standout on and off the field. That Super Bowl Sunday, Jackson was riding in an Uber when he felt ill. The driver pulled over on Interstate 70. Moments later, a pickup truck slammed into them. Both Jackson and his driver, Jeffrey Monroe, were killed. The driver of the truck, Manuel Orrego Zavala, was intoxicated and in the U.S. illegally. Jackson was just 26. His death rocked the NFL. The Colts honored him with a helmet decal bearing his number, 53, throughout the 2018 season. But Jackson's legacy lives on beyond football. Above all, he's remembered as a fighter who earned everything and was taken far too soon. Jaylon Ferguson was supposed to be the next big force on the edge. Born December 14, 1995, in Zachary, Louisiana, he became a dominant pass rusher at Louisiana Tech, where he shattered the NCAA record with 45 career sacks. The Baltimore Ravens saw his potential and drafted him in the 3rd round of the 2019 NFL Draft. Ferguson played 3 seasons in the NFL, appearing in 38 games and recording 67 tackles and 4.5 sacks. While his role was often rotational, his presence was felt, especially in a Ravens defense built on speed and power. Teammates called him humble, hardworking, and always smiling. But on June 21, 2022, tragedy struck. Ferguson was found unresponsive in a home in Baltimore. He never woke up. The medical examiner later ruled his death an accident, caused by the combined effects of fentanyl and cocaine. He was just 26 years old. His death stunned the league. A young life, full of promise, cut short not by violence or injury, but by a silent epidemic. Jeff Gladney's NFL journey was just beginning. Born on December 12, 1996 in New Boston, Texas, Gladney was a standout cornerback at TCU before being drafted 31st overall by the Minnesota Vikings in the first round of the 2020 NFL Draft. Known for his speed and physical play, he started 15 games as a rookie and showed flashes of long-term potential. But his career hit a pause in 2021 when he was indicted on a felony assault charge and released by the Vikings. After he was found not guilty in March 2022, the Arizona Cardinals gave him a second chance, signing him to a 2-year deal. Just as he was preparing for a fresh start, tragedy struck. On May 30, 2022, at around 2:30 a.m. in Dallas, Texas, Gladney and his girlfriend, Mercedes Palacios, were killed in a car crash. According to police, he was speeding on the Woodall-Rogers Freeway when his vehicle clipped another, lost control, hit a beam, and burst into flames. Jeff Gladney was just 25. His death stunned the football world. Coaches, teammates, and fans remembered a young man who had fought for redemption and was ready to reclaim his place in the league. Instead, his life became a sobering reminder of how quickly everything can change, on or off the field. Dwayne Haskins was just 24 years old, full of promise, full of ambition. Born May 3, 1997, he was drafted 15th overall by Washington in the 2019 NFL Draft. After a record-breaking season at Ohio State where he threw for 4,831 yards and 50 touchdowns, Haskins was seen as the future of an NFL franchise. He played 2 seasons with Washington before joining the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2021, hoping to revive his career. But on the morning of April 9, 2022, that hope was cut short. Haskins was struck and killed by a dump truck on Interstate 595 near Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He had reportedly run out of gas and was attempting to cross the highway on foot. A toxicology report later showed his blood alcohol content was above the legal limit, and traces of ketamine and norketamine were found in his system. His sudden death stunned the league. Tributes poured in from teammates and coaches who remembered not just the player, but the person. Kind-hearted, determined, still learning. Dwayne Haskins didn't get the chance to prove what he could become, but in the eyes of those who knew him, his potential was never in question. Kyrie Jackson was a name on the rise. Born August 11, 1999, in Upper Marlboro, Maryland, he defied the odds to become a standout cornerback. After starting at junior college, then transferring to Alabama and later Oregon, Jackson's perseverance and physicality turned heads. By 2023, he earned first-team All-Pac-12 honors and became a top NFL draft prospect. In April 2024, the Minnesota Vikings selected him in the 4th round, 108th overall. At 6'4" with elite coverage skills, Jackson was expected to compete for a starting role in the secondary. Coaches praised his maturity, his journey, and his potential. But on July 6, 2024, just months before his NFL debut, tragedy struck. Jackson was killed in a car crash in his hometown. He was a passenger when another vehicle, speeding and attempting a reckless lane change, collided with them. Jackson was pronounced dead at the scene. He was only 24. 2 former high school teammates also died in the crash. The NFL community was stunned. Jackson never played a down in the league, but his resilience and rise inspired many. Now his story lives on, not for stats or game-winning plays, but for the reminder that greatness is also measured by the battles you fight just to get there. If you enjoyed this, I'm going to be posting a lot more interesting videos on the channel. I'd greatly appreciate it if you could like and subscribe. Thank you very much.